Good morning.
Good morning.
How we doing?
Not great, but alive. What could be better than
missed
that?
you yesterday.
Really? Oh, I missed you all yesterday. I saw some of the show, then I went back to bed.
I'm very suspicious of the timing of this.
Oh, really?
Very, very suspect.
Why? What's the
timing?
timing?
Do you know it was the International Day of yesterday?
Give me a minute. I should know this.
You should know it because it's important. It's one of the most international days that there ever was.
Internet. I know because I mentioned the national days on my other show, and I don't remember what Monopoly Day.
Perhaps,
I think
but
it was
even
Monopoly.
a more important one than Monopoly Day.
I don't know.
Yesterday was International Men's Day.
Really?
Observed on the 19th, that celebrates men's contributions to society, focused on positive masculinity, emotional well-being, and accountability. The day highlights men's courage, kindness, and resilience, while also addressing mental health and societal expectations. It encourages appreciation for their often unspoken roles and offer heartfelt wishes, messages, and quotes to make them feel valued. You skipped it.
So yeah. Your theory is I was like, nope, I'm taking no part in that.
No, and I have to bring it up the next day because I know you tried to shaft me by celebrating a belated Men's Day. So I'll give you the opportunity to wish me well on International Men's Day.
Yes, happy belated International Men's Day. Yes. Did you do all kinds of manly things?
Dude, testosterone was easy.
Did you rev your engine in your vehicle?
100%.
Oh, God.
Yep.
I bet it was cringe.
I flopped it on every desk that I came in.
Oh, God. Cringe.
Yes.
Cringe.
Yeah, it's what we do. So celebrate the men. You don't have to, not reserve for just a single day. You can celebrate men every day.
I mean, you could.
You could.
But should we? When's International Women's Day?
I don't know. It's insignificant.
I'm just going to let Julie start typing right
What?
now. I can hear her. F you, Joe.
Why?
It's insignificant.
Listen, women have boobs. And when you have boobs, every day is Women's Day. You can get your way no matter where you go. It's like, oh, speeding ticket? Nope. I got boobs. Job performance? Oh, I got boobs.
That's not true.
International treaties? I got boobs. You can get it all.
There was literally a time where women couldn't vote. They couldn't go to work and they still had boobs and they had no say in anything.
Now, do you regret having to vote now? It's such a slimy responsibility.
You don't have to not regret it to say it was a thing.
What does it matter? It's not that big
because you just said women could do anything they want because they have boobs. They've had boobs their entire existence and couldn't do everything they wanted.
So Billy Bob, right? He's about to vote. And wifey's like, hey, I really want you to vote this way. And he's like, no, I'm a man. I'm going to vote however I want. And then she takes out the boobs and says, you're going to vote this way. So she was able to vote just by boob proxy.
What if someone doesn't have nice boobs? What if they're not big voluptuous? What if they're teeny
I think
tiny?
That's a prerequisite to voting. You shouldn't have influence if you've got small boobs. You shouldn't even celebrate.
What did I come into this morning?
You're the one who deprived me of...
Am I dreaming right now?
You deprived me of Men's Day, so I have to minimize the influence of women on society. That's what you did. I feel slighted today.
Is this a fever dream?
This isn't about you. This is about me.
Is this real life?
Jalapenos in the house?
What's ho jalapeno in the house?
I don't know.
What does that even mean?
But it's awesome. I'm a fan of jalapeno.
Ho jalapeno?
Yeah.
Carter says, thank God Kellen is back. It was hard for me and Julie to carry the show.
That is absolutely, I just ranted the whole time.
I did see something about compression socks.
Yes.
I want in on that.
Yeah.
I have to wear compression socks.
Of course you do.
Not so much from an athletic standpoint, but just from my legs just swell all the time and I sit a lot and they get big and swollen. And I need the whole, I wear the knee-high ones, and all that does is then make my knees and above swell. So I need like full body compression.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which they make, I think.
Yeah. I'm sure it feels amazing. Like I feel so good when I wear compression socks.
Really?
I do.
Sometimes I do, and then sometimes I think, other than like seeing that my legs would be like visibly smaller where they were compressed, I don't know if they help. Sometimes it'll hurt, and sometimes I think it like I've got a spot on my leg now that looks like spider veiny, and I swear that was not there until the compression sock hit me there.
Okay, I'd see a doctor.
I have, and it's a big fat waste of time.
Okay, doctors follow the science.
Follow the science. Yeah. I did see Dr. Cox yesterday a little bit. Mm-hmm. I like him. Did you like him?
I do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And what was so interesting is you mentioned The Matrix. Mm-hmm. Guess what I watched yesterday?
The Matrix.
The Matrix.
Yeah. Everyone should watch The Matrix.
Yeah. So I had not seen it probably since I was like a teenager, maybe. So like I remember some scenes and like, you know, the famous scenes that everybody replays and stuff, and red pill, blue pill. But I don't remember like really paying attention and knowing what's going on. So it was on AMC and I was like, oh, I'm going to watch The Matrix. Am I slow? Does everybody know that that's based on the Bible? I didn't know that. Did you know that?
Listen, the reason we take like these movies that kind of last and have influence over culture is because they have depth that when you watch them with different perspective, you can slide it to all kinds of like parallels. So Matrix is heavy in parallels. Well,
and it's not even so much like I could see how this is sort of relating to biblical. Like they flat out, it's pretty obvious. Like their ship's the Nebuchadnezzar.
Yep.
One girl's name is Trinity. Mm-hmm. Their last human city is Zion. Yep. Neo is obviously their Christ-like figure, their savior, the one.
Right.
I was like, I never realized all of this when I watched it in the 90s, early 2000s. Yeah.
You watched it superficially and you were like, oh, those are pretty cool effects.
Yeah, because I've never been into sci-fi. Yeah. So all the like, you know, the robot things, I was like,
sci-fi in the 80s and 90s, where it was amazing because you had people who were writing scripts that if they just overtly said what they felt, like they'd be crackpotted, right? They'd be diminished because they'd be kookified. But if you wrapped it in a storyline for other people to find out and add their own nouns and verbs into it, like you can hide a message in those metaphors. And then the smart people will assemble those metaphors, and the other people will be like, "That's just a really good movie," kind of thing.
Yeah,
it was brilliant.
All I kept thinking is, this is exactly Joe's thinking. The whole brain in a jar concept you've talked about, like they're in a pod, literally hooked up to their brain. They could be like, "Hey, I need to learn kung fu. Now I know it. Mm-hmm. Hey, I need to learn how to fly this helicopter. Got it." That's exactly what it was. Is that where you got that idea?
No, that just reinforced how right I am
coincidental.
About that idea. Yeah, but the harder topics to talk about are like multiverses. Like that escapes most people, and because everybody lives a linear life, they believe in time. They just buy into all the illusions. So when you have a crackpot that comes along that says there might be an infinite amount, number of Kellans out there, all living completely different realities, 1 degree of separation from each additional reality, you're like, I can't like buy into that. I can't picture that.
Yeah.
And so, but if you have a person that knows how to use those additional multiverses and traversing those different potentialities, right? I can use it and I never have to convince you because I'm currently using the tool, the skill set in the tool belt that you don't have any access to. But this is the precipice. This is where you're like, I'm tangling with things that are bigger than myself. There's some wisdoms out there that are like more threaded into regular reality. And I've got to pay attention closer to be able to pull those wisdoms out. That's biblical right there.
Yeah. How do you, what do you think is happening when someone experiences deja vu?
Same as I do when somebody experiences like a supernatural event. Some people have sensitivities or develop sensitivities to be able to connect into a reality that's on a parallel with our own reality. Okay, so you get access to information. So there's a movie I watched a couple weekends ago. It's called Parallel. It
sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was a group of guys a group of college age kids that were entrepreneurs. They find a mirror that allowed them to travel into a multiverse that was really close proximity. So there were only like really small differences between their real reality and the one that they just traveled to. And they opened books and found out what was different between the two. And there was a little bit of verbiage differences. The details were the same, but really slight differences. And so in those experiences we have with the supernatural and deja vu, we're tapping into something that's really close proximity to us. And it's not much different than what we actually experience, but there's data to be had from those different experiences. So that if you think it's a ghost and you're admiring an experience for, whatever you brought in through your senses, but gather no data from it, then it was a fruitless deal. If you have deja vu and it doesn't kind of like put an exclamation point on and say, what am I supposed to learn about this? Then it's wasted.
Do you think there always is something to learn from deja vu?
Yes.
Even if
always.
Even if it's just like a simple little, I looked there and then I looked there.
Even if it's just
I'm going to grab water. Keep talking.
Even if it's just to reveal to you that you're really close proximity to an alternative reality that's sort of like unraveling at a different pace with different things. And there's information in that you can bring back to the current and be made better because of.
So my deja vu has never been a significant event. It's normally something very small.
Mm-hmm.
Very small. Like it could be us sitting here talking and I glance over at the speaker and glance back at you and I'd be like, I swear you've been wearing that when I looked at that speaker and looked back at you.
Right.
And that was it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a literal example, but something just very seemingly insignificant.
Mm-hmm.
But you think there's something to learn there?
It's just undeveloped. So here's the deal. So there's a dude that's been going to the gym for 6 years and they work out every morning and they've got really great physique, right? And somebody walks up and jumps on a treadmill for 9 minutes, right? They're going to say that I got a glimpse into it, but look at this. Nothing's changed. Like there's no information here. I don't have a great physique. Like what's wrong with this? Well, it's a developed skill that if you do the regimen on a regular basis, tap into that information on a regular basis. That's just a glimpse. Like that's just the first hint that there's something else. If you not paying attention to it or not trying to get it to happen, right?
Uh-huh.
Like lucid dreaming. Do you do any lucid dreaming? Right.
Well, do you mean just when you're dreaming and you realize you are, or you're dreaming and you can control it?
No, just purposely. Yeah, on purpose. You basically
purpose.
acknowledge that something happens on a regular basis, and you're like, "Hey, that thing happens like by accident. Let me see if I can control it and make it happen. So let me see if I can get in a dream and know that I'm dreaming and gather information while I'm there. And I can turn it on, I can turn it off, I can traverse it and whatever." That's a developed skill set where people have lucid dreams by accident and they're just like, oh, that was kind of cool. And it's more parlor trick than it is a function and something they can make use of. That's sort of like what the supernatural is, the multiverse are, and whatever. We just don't know how to use them and we think they're kind of cool. But, it's a parlor trick more than something that has a function.
So when you make something happen, like we talked one time forever ago, it was like, pick anything, a certain color car, something you want to see, you think about it and then you'll see it.
Yes.
And you're like, well, you were thinking about it. You were seeking it out. You saw it. You sort of made that happen. Is that anything other than you searching all day for it, or are you sort of traversing something else?
Your decisions put you in a higher probability for something to experience. And so if you do this, if you're on the linear level, the basic level, all of this is just kind of like fun to talk about. But if you're on the quantum level and you know all this, every potential is possible. There's a like Joe becoming president in 2026, right?
Yeah.
2020, whatever.
We can make that
2028,
happen.
Right?
Yeah.
If you spreadsheet it, what is the potential for me becoming president? It's pretty low. I'm not doing anything. I'm not talking about it. I'm not planning it. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
But I can make a decision today that makes it go from a 0.0001 to a 0.0003, right? And if you're on the quantum level, you know you've increased your potentiality. And if you talk to a normie, you're like, you just took 2,000th of a percentage and you added it to its potential.
Yeah.
It's not an all or nothing deal, right?
Yeah.
You're not president tomorrow. But if you live in the quantum where you're just assembling a lot of low probability things and you're adding to their increased probability, you can traverse those other multiverses and realize something that exists in a different plane.
So what happened in this situation? I know we've talked about this before. I don't know if anyone remembers. It was a while back. This is a real life specific situation that actually happened. I really did this. We had a similar conversation. And I remember one morning I said to myself, maybe it was in the afternoon, I want to see a pink heart.
Yeah.
Specifically pink. Red's too easy. You can see a red heart anywhere. People put red hearts on all kinds of stuff. So that's too easy. Pink heart today. I'm going to make myself see one. And I went all afternoon like, I don't know how I'm going to make myself see one, especially when the majority of my day is in one place. It's not like I'm out and about all day long. So it's going to be pretty difficult. Let's see if it can happen. And sure enough, at the end of my day, I decided to go home a different way. Just one street different. And on that street was a little girl playing outside in a pink t-shirt with a white heart on it. Mm-hmm. And I went, that's pretty damn close.
Right.
Now, did I increase my probability by going a different way home? Maybe. But that girl didn't need to be outside. She didn't need to be there at that moment, on that day, at that time, wearing that shirt. She could have worn anything that day. It could have been raining. She could have been inside. She could have been out and then back in. She could have had a coat on and I wouldn't have seen. There could have been so many variables. Everything lined up. And I said, you know what? I'm going to turn this way instead of that way today. And saw pink and a heart. So what happened there?
Parlor trick. It was a glimpse into a practice thing, right? And what you did on the other side of that is all is what means everything to me, right?
Uh-huh.
So you're like, okay, well, my subconscious is aware of a lot of data and information that I'm not aware of, and I'm going to tell it to go do something, and it's going to make instinctive suggestions about what I should do, and I'm going to follow them, and I'm going to be given the thing that I actually asked for. Okay, the utility in a pink heart is pretty low, but it was a glimpse into the fact that that stuff is possible. Cool. Now you're convinced. I had a hypothesis. I proved out that I can make it happen in the real world. The universe gave me a glimpse into it to acknowledge that I was right. And then what'd you do after it?
But what happened? I just made myself see it. Like when you say, I proved it could happen. I proved what?
That you got an instinctive suggestion, right? And you followed the suggestion and it was revealed to you.
So do you think when I said, all right, I'm going to pick anything, pink heart, I chose pink heart for a reason.
Your subconscious put into your head, right?
Yeah.
What you needed to be looking for. And then your instincts to follow that drive delivered the thing that you gave your subconscious commands to do. That's simple as that. You can do that every single day.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. But again, if you take it from the it's cool, it's a parlor trick thing, it doesn't, it has diminishing results. If you just accept that that's a thing and that there's multiverses, there's a multiverse, plural, and that you can traverse any of them. And so every probability is one move away from making something more possible. Then you start doing that in every direction. If you believe it.
Do you think there's anything in the fact that the day I happen to be homesick is the day AMC showed The Matrix, is the day you mentioned it with Dr. Cox, and then we talked about it? Like, those are all pretty coincidental things.
Might be coincidence. I don't know.
Like anything could have been on TV. Any channel could have been on.
So if you knew that that was a fact, where you can basically populate everything that happens to you, and you can invest time into things that make things more probable, why wouldn't you spend every day of your life, like every hour of your day, taking things that are awesome and putting them ahead of you? Why wouldn't you do that?
How so?
Because there's a portion of your brain that suspends that this is not a reality. This is not true. And it's cool as a parlor trick, but I can't really actually do that. So instead, we will go into the refuge of the delusion and become more normie than, multidimensional thinker.
Like another really neat coincidence around that similar time frame. I have noticed, and I've said this before, and I know this sounds weird. You're probably the only one who won't think I'm crazy. If during my day something stands out to me for a second, it could be the smallest, most insignificant thing. Something catches my eye for whatever reason. I notice it. I'll see it again later, or I'll need that later. Like I could see, I don't know, that piece of tape or whatever sitting there. And I just happen to notice it. No big deal. But it stands out. And then later someone might go, hey, has anyone seen my piece of tape? Yeah, it's up front on the table up there. Like that happens to me all the time. And so one time I was driving to work and I go past the embassy banquet hall. And in the parking lot early in the morning is a Coca-Cola truck. They were clearly getting a delivery of Coke. And for whatever reason, I just sort of stare at it and then go about my day. Like no reason for that to grab my attention. Why is the banquet hall and the Coca-Cola trucks grabbing my attention? I don't know. And I went, well, maybe I'll see it again. That day, a delivery person came into where I was. And I just happened to glance down, and on his leg is a tattoo of a Coke bottle cap. And I swear to you, I may have read this wrong. It looked like it said banquet on it. I am not kidding. Maybe it was his last name. Maybe it was a different word that looked like banquet. It definitely began with a B. It looked like banquet written on a red Coca-Cola bottle cap on his leg. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, this is getting so weird. Now, is that because I was looking for it? Did I make that happen? Is it a different universe that I just sort of tapped into? Is it just, hey, coincidences happen? Just one happened. You think I'm weird?
No, not at all. Look at the world around you. I'm going to pluck your eyeballs out and you're not going to be able to see anything anymore, right? Because your eyeballs basically take visible light and you create little information streams into your brain, and you try to interpret things and translate from what light does to things and make sense of it, right? So I pluck your eyeballs out. Now you have no visual stimulus at all.
That's
now
creepy.
The world around you has to be measured differently than visual stimulus. Well, the world is nothing but information. So you will figure out how to create information streams in different ways. And maybe you'll tap into your mental abilities to be able to sense frequencies, maybe sound frequencies, many energy frequencies. You'll basically, when one sense goes down, another one comes up, and you get sort of like information that you would have never noticed before. Totally quiet room, right? Mm-hmm. And all you could do is hear. You can't see anything. Do you hear sounds that you normally don't hear, or normally don't hear?
Probably.
Yes. Why? Because you've quieted the loud things, and now new information permeates your brain, and you're like, I'm going to try to make sense of it. I heard a little flapping of wings. What could that be? And you start using your brain to be able to interpret and translate that information that was quieter, that would have missed before. So when you go to meditation and you go to prayer and you go to sleep, you've quieted the normal visual stimulation. And if you open your brain up to interpret things that you don't normally have access to because your brain is loud. That's really all it is.
Kind of like if I'm thinking about something and what should I do and what should I do and what's the answer to this issue or this problem or this whatever. I always say, like, my best thinking I do is when I'm getting ready to go somewhere, because I'm doing my makeup, I'm doing my hair, I'm doing something I do every day of my life. I've done it a million times, so I can sort of zone out. It's not something I have to really concentrate on. And I just listen, so to speak. Nobody else is talking to me. I'm just sort of in the zone. And I swear that's like, I'll do like my best thinking. I'll have like my aha moments. Oh, of course. We should do this, or that makes sense, or blah, blah, blah. Now, religious people will say, oh, that's your prayer time. That's God giving you a message. Do you believe in that? Or do you think it's, oh, you're just receiving information, you're thinking about it more?
Again, it's parlor trick, because once you come to a conclusion that when you quiet other stimulations down, that you gather information in other departments, you would on purpose do that and try to make utility of what you just experienced. If it's just a magic trick, then you're fascinated with it, but then you're confused about how do you make it again. And the next time it happens, you're equally as impressed with something that was alive and there all along, but you rediscovered it for the 9,000th time, right? And it's just cool rather than useful.
I've had a huge aha moment, though, when it was not quiet, that I was in a very loud, active place and thinking about something and whatever, and just thinking, then it went, oh, that makes sense. And it was interesting that it was in a distracted mode. It came to me and I was like, what was that?
Those are accidental. You'll run into supernatural. You'll run into, seeing a black cat for the second time when the matrix gets reset. Those are accidental. You didn't do those on purpose, but those are the little winks at you that says, hey, this is a real thing. Why don't you try to do this on purpose? It's a superpower that you can develop if you really want to. With 400-pound person gets on the treadmill, that's an accidental deal. They didn't do that on purpose. And if you're like, wow, like if they can suspend the in the now benefit in it, and they can just be like, I know there's something down the road. If I can see into the future, or I can gather information that other people are blind to, or I can deal with probabilities or multiverse, like all of this stuff is skill set. And when I start doing it, I'm not going to get an immediate benefit. Every once in a while, it's going to, throw something at me that gives me an acknowledgement that it is real and I should keep doing it, right? That fat dude on the treadmill every once in a while is going to have an epiphany moment, right? And if he's like, oh, I'm on the right track and I keep going down this road, then you develop a superpower. If not, then it's just always a parlor trick. And it's like, I didn't work out for 5 months and I went and had my epiphany moment. I'm attracted to the epiphany moment rather than the utility of what I just experienced. That's the difference. You're a normie that flirts with more.
You call me a normie all the time.
All the time.
Is that an insult?
No. You translate things
Feels
to
like
lower power, and I translate things to higher power.
That also sounds very much like an insult.
I don't know.
You normie and your lower
Freaking
power.
Normies.
Get on my level.
There's a lot of normies out there. It's not hard to be a normie.
I'm mediocre. Is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't say mediocre. You're high level normie.
Oh, that's good. There's a normie spectrum, and I am high.
You're the best normie I know.
I'll take it.
What else you want to talk about?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think Donald Trump told a reporter, quiet piggy?
Yeah.
Anyway, he said, quiet McGee. No?
No.
Gotta admit, looks like McGee to me. It did.
Really?
I did some searching. I did some listening. I did some Googling. What the heck would quiet McGee even mean? Why would he say piggy over somebody on the internet said a lying McGee is a thing.
So in the 90s, there I think it was an SNL skit, maybe something like that, where the character referred to people as McGee. And I use this to this day.
Yeah.
But it never sounds like piggy. So, all right.
I think it sounded more like McGee than piggy.
That's fine if it was, but I don't think that.
Why would he say piggy?
The most insulting thing that came to his Donald Trump brain?
Like, I even looked to see, like, was she heavy set?
Was she?
No.
Okay.
She's not heavy set. I don't know. Patricia says, OMG, I thought he said McGee too. Like, there's a lot of people online that are like, he didn't say piggy, he said McGee. He called them a lying McGee, but it was like, you be quiet, McGee. And so I listened over and over with piggy in my head and with McGee in my head, and the inflection in his voice, the way his lips look, the fact that she's not heavy set, piggy doesn't make sense, but a lying McGee to a reporter that he doesn't like what they report would make more sense. Again, I'm not saying he didn't insult someone to their face. I'm just saying he may have said something different.
Does it matter, though?
Yeah.
Why?
Because if so, I think this would be just another example of like, look, the media doesn't need help calling out Trump's toddler moments. Did you see him like go after that ABC reporter recently? And he said, you're a terrible person. You're a terrible reporter. He will give you enough ammunition. You don't need to make it up. If you make it up, it looks suspicious. Now you're harder to trust. Every administration in office, whether they're Republican or Democrat, one of the media outlets goes after them. If you're a Democrat, Fox News is probably ripping you a new one. And if you're a Republican, NBC, CNN, ABC are probably ripping you new ones. So if you make it look like you're making stuff up, you're hurting yourself because there is enough to work with on its own. Mm-hmm. Now you're like the boy who cried wolf. Now I don't trust anything you say. Hence why I even did a deep dive into, well, did he say Piggy or did he say McGee? And I think that if they're wrong, I can't help but wonder if they're wrong on purpose.
Well, see, both of them are equal as far as I'm concerned. If you call a reporter a McGee or you call someone a Piggy, like really in a press conference between the president of the United States and reporters, it should be pretty standardized that neither one of those things are applicable in an exchange with a reporter.
Yeah.
And so McGee, is that like a slight on Irish folk? Right? Are we taking a swipe at the names of
they
Irish
could have
settlers
gone that route,
who want to minimize Irish people by calling them a McGee as something dismissive?
Well, I think if the intent was to call her a liar, that would have been a more accurate for him jab. But if they made it sound like Piggy, then he looks a little more childish and insulting. And it puts the focus on Trump and it takes it off of the reporter. Like, is the reporter a liar?
Well, is there like a gradient of what you would be insulted by? So you're a woman reporter, and if I called you a horse face versus a piggy, which one of those two things are you going to be more insulted by? You're like, they're both stupid.
I don't like either of them.
Right. So if I called you a McGee, you might not take personal offense because, maybe you're more, you have more confidence in the McGee status. Like he's comparing me to an Irishman. I'm not an Irishman. So that's a harder one for me to take offense to. But they're both stupid words and not applicable in an exchange between the president and reporters. So they're just kind of dumb on both accounts.
I mean, I think a lot of things he says are kind of dumb.
Right. But why that one is more dumb, like they're just dumb, and that's all as far as
one just makes more sense than the other. And I feel like if you're trying to make something that doesn't make sense work for you, it again makes you a little less credible. Like it almost makes you look like you are a liar, which is what he may have been calling you. It makes him look right. But if you change the name and you say, oh, he didn't call me a liar, he called me this, and that's highly insultive to women, that's your jab at him.
But again, we're talking about an exchange between the media and the president. So if the media says you're Hitler, right, that's their piggy liar on the other side. So they're both playing that game, and it's stupid no matter who's saying it. So let's get this. Let's ask a question that just has an answer where you give information and then you just write the information without taking your own personal bias or opinion into account. Then we've got a higher level, and we don't have to worry about name calling. Oh, I name called you, but your name call is worse than my name call. So now we're talking about stupidity, just to which degree. It's all
like
stupid.
You could call me Hitler, bigot, racist, but if I say piggy,
right. Now it's all stupid, and let's just stop doing insults and get to reporter, president, exchange of information, inform the people. That's it. It's all stupid.
Ron says, my mom and I think you're awesome. Thanks, Ron. That is desperation trying to normalize Trump.
Yeah, and that I agree with Julie here. We're delving in and we're trying to measure the level of stupidity rather than just saying we're better than this and let's not have any stupidity. Then we don't have to worry if I call you a horse.
We all know we're not better than this.
Right.
We as in government as a whole.
This is a perfect mirror of what we really are, right? Do you think when the cameras turn off and everybody in Congress are meandering around, Do you think they're acting at a higher level than what they do in front of the camera, or a low level than what they're acting with the jokes that they tell, the insults that they give, the fights that they get in? It's probably very juvenile, everything that happens. Why? Because it's all just people. And if I think certain things and have certain impulses, I know everybody else has a similar impulse.
Like when he went off on that ABC reporter, it was in front of a bunch of people. He was there with someone. Do you think that was sort of performative?
Yes.
Like, you're making me look bad, so now I'm going to berate you.
If a media person becomes performative and then you become performative, you can't go aghast and grip your pearls and say, I know I'm allowed to do it, but how dare you? We're just a perfect zero magnification, perfect reflection of where we're at. And we're warming up to the fact that the people who govern us are just as stupid as we are. And it's about time we take smart people who have decorum, who have, sort of a way acting like gentlemen and gentle ladies, right? And put that on the pedestal instead of Kardashians and Bad Bunnies and all terribly behaving people that we put on a pedestal.
Yeah. Julie says, did Trump deny it? I don't know.
Even if he did, I don't care. It's all stupid.
Ron says both sides of political spectrum are awful. Yes. The founding fathers would be throwing up.
They would be hanging, right? They would be hanging people and saying, this is not.
Kicking them out.
I took super high-end, sophisticated framework, put it in front of you so you would never have to experience what you're experiencing right now, and you effed it up. Bring out the gallows, bring out the duels, and we got to get rid of some of these people who've now been conditioned that bad behavior is the status quo. Get rid of the bad behavior. And even if there's bad behavior, at least you don't have confidence in that bad behavior. It doesn't fly, because the minute you do bad behavior, you get gang tackled by the pitchforks and torches. Now we celebrate the bad behavior, and that's what we have. Government is a bunch of douchey people who are really stupid, who figure out 1,000 ways to get more money and get more power, and that is it. Now you're worshiping the people who are treading on you, and there are flags that fly in the wind that are supposed to say, oh, don't tread on me. Who's doing that? Oh, everybody over there? Hang them! Hang them!
Yeah, when I saw that clip of him going after the ABC reporter, as I'm listening to it, I'm just cringing. Like, stop. Like, be the bigger person for once in your life. This is like watching two children fight. And you look at the comments and it's all, this is hilarious. Oh, get her. Oh, good for him. Oh, she deserved it. Oh, how funny. And I'm like, children. It's like a schoolyard. Everyone stands around.
All right. Well, then that's interesting that you bring up school, because we get our first dose of populism when we're in school. So you have something that should take intelligence and academics and make that the most critical attribute in any of the students. In any of the social behaviors in school, do they reflect academics? Are academics like really smart people? Are they put on the pedestal? Or the really dumb people, are they made famous?
Yeah.
So we get our first dosing of it, and what should be which versus in the very beginnings of our pursuits. I don't believe in it. Like, if you're a math genius who doesn't need a calculator to figure something out, you should be class president, because you are the freaking smartest and you've got a skill set, and everybody else should be looking up to you and saying, how does he freaking do it? And it should be that massive pursuit where that nerd at the top is like, come on, stupid heads, catch up, bitches.
Yeah, but don't you think there is something to be said about being influential, having likability, being able to lead and motivate? Like, you could be incredibly intelligent. You could be a mathematics savant. But when you deal with people, you're like a total weirdo.
Would you rather an intelligent person try to be influential and do it poorly? Or would you take a charismatic person who's really good at being influential and be a dead ass stupid
Obviously,
person?
I would want the intelligent person
to
learn how to...
You were arguing about that charisma.
No. I'm not saying that the one who's charismatic and dumb is better. I'm just saying you do have to have a little bit of both.
Okay, as a normie, which one would you be more
like
likely
I'm being insulted
to gravitate towards? Would you be more be able to say, this person is boring and they've not got no charisma, but they've got a head full of awesomeness? right? Versus the person who aesthetically pleasing and they talk a really good game. Which one are you tuning into? You're a normie.
I want them to team up. I want them to be like, you're the brains behind it. You're the communicator. We can't relate to him. We don't know what he's talking about. You've got to translate.
Well, you're a smart normie, so of course you're going to choose that. I'm talking the brain dead normies are going to gravitate toward the populism of whatever is popular. And what's popular is the dummies. We've written a million movies, a million books.
Came to be known.
And socially, we've thrown out the cautionary tale of following idiots. And yet we know it, we laugh at it, we mock it when we see it, but then in real life and practice, we end up following idiots and we give them all of the energy, we give them all the prosperity, we give them all of the energy, right? And we deprive the real smart people. Like Elon Musk, I'm a fanboy of Elon Musk, and it's not because of aesthetics, and I'm not a bootlicker, and I don't want to have sexual relations with him at all. Do you know what I appreciate in him?
His brain.
His brain. 100% his brain. And I am willing to tolerate all of the foibles of being socially outcasted by his personality and where his impulses lie. Forgive him for all of that, because that brain is more valuable than probably everyone else in government right now. If I would say, pick one, right? Somebody has to die. Elon Musk or all of the halls of Congress. That would be such an easy choice. I would hit the red button to eliminate everybody in Congress. 1,000 people in powers of position and all of the repercussions that come with that to save Elon Musk in 2 seconds. I wouldn't even hesitate.
Not that he's plotting this government. He is not.
Perhaps. Perhaps. Yeah, Obama was a silver-tongued devil and sounded great, but ruined our health insurance for the country. That's a great example because everybody wanted to like Obama, as hollow as he was as a politician.
He was a likable.
Now, let's just say you take, we'll take your example.
Yeah.
Well-spoken, great charisma, could very easily listen to him all day long. Yeah. Great speaker. If you just took some intelligence and some good mathematics and hybridized them, right, he would be great.
Yeah.
But he didn't do that, and it's not the natural flow of how humanity works. We end up buying into people who will be disastrous to us, but we'll be like, hey, he was a great speaker, though. And you never get the nerd and the jock together and be able to rule the world, because those are, from an ego standpoint, those never work, right?
Yeah.
Because the jock will never concede to the nerd that they absolutely are filling 50% of the vacancies that they have. And the nerd, well, would be more likely to say, yeah, you know what, I can't lift a heavy safe, but I can think myself through it and engineer myself out of this thing. So you have one part of the equation, the stupid people will always rule the world so long that the people don't say, I'm done with dumb people. There's too much of a trail of devastation behind them. Let's just go with the nerds and see how that goes.
So if you had to look at just business practices, smart decisions, good ideas, good planning, who would you say is superior, Donald Trump or Barack Obama, with better ideas, better policy?
Trump.
So would you not then see someone as better for the job, better ideas, smarter,
but
wildly off-putting?
Okay, so let me do this. Let's just say we reverse things and can pick Obama up and surround him with different people. So let's just take Trump's crowd, his advisors, the people he goes to be able to get considerations that his brain's not carrying, but he has support staff around him. If I put Obama in that, could Obama, right, through osmosis, pull in good ideas and be a smart president? For sure. And he probably would have taken a complete different path had he been surrounded by other people. So do you blame Obama as a figurehead or the people that are around him conditioning him into what he became? So you reverse those roles, and I'm probably going to say the exact same thing. Obama carried it in a more palatable way that was more believable, that had more, you'd be more willing to give authority over to an Obama. And you got to make some compromises in order to give over to someone like Trump, who is, I can't tolerate even listening to Trump's speeches. I won't even watch them anymore because he's not for me.
Yeah.
I will listen to hours of Obama speaking because he's just better at it. He says things I want to hear. He makes me feel better. He connects with me emotionally.
It's almost like you need Trump and Obama to team up. Obama is the PR. You are the face. Trump can have the ideas and the know-how and the influence, but we need somebody else up front. Like, this is why probably there's like press secretaries with every administration. And I've said this too when like Trump came out when the whole Tylenol autism thing broke. I said, I wonder if people like RFK Jr. and Dr. Oz ever look at Trump and say, could you not? Like, could you stop and can you just let us do this? Like, don't say anything.
Well,
he doesn't need to present anything.
See, one of the rules of populism is if I were to get elected because I'm brash and I swear and like you connect with me because I'm just like you and I want you to be my president because you're going to punch somebody in the face, right? You can't switch gears and then go in a different direction. You got to keep appealing to the populist base that love the reason. The reason I voted for you is because you're going to keep punching people in the face. The people that hate how you talk, right? They probably weren't your people in the first place and they weren't your voters. So why would you switch for the sake of switching rather than drum up even more support among the people who will vote for you because you're that way?
Yeah, I mean, if you got elected doing one thing, why wouldn't you just stick with it? Somebody said, remember when Biden called a student asking a question a lying dog-faced pony soldier?
Yes.
They all do it.
Yeah.
Trump was mad at the tone of the question, not the question. Replay it. And yeah, he kept saying it's not so much the question, it's your tone.
Mm-hmm. And as a public speaker and someone who is in politics, like, do you hear let's just say you run into someone who has been critical of you and said nasty things about you. The next time they ask you a question, do you always approach them with the same standard, the same tone, the same feeling, or has it been diminished because they saw 50 things that you said, right?
Yeah.
They commented to totally undermine your credibility. So when they ask that next question, do you treat them any different?
Probably.
Because you're a regular person. So that identifies with a populist approach because that's what you and I would do. If you were mean to me and I ran into you a second time, I would hit you harder than the last time because you annoyed me even more than the last time. A professional politician would ask the question and you're wondering, like, don't you know that dude was just totally cruel to you and whatever? You would expect a real politician to be able to put that aside and hit it fresh and neutral every time they ask the question. So which are you going to prefer? The person that's willing to fight, that's ready to ramp it up as they ramp it up, or the person who's going to be a professional politician?
When a lot of people claim they voted for Trump because he wasn't the professional politician.
That's exactly right. That's populism. So if you had a race that was happening and car number 2 spun out car number 1 and won the race, and because he cheated and spun that person out, they both get out of their cars. Now you as a normie are like, what do you hope happens? What's justice? What is freaking justice?
After him.
They want to go after him. They're not like, hey, congratulations on that win. We'd be completely like, holy shit, aren't you pissed he spun you out at the finish line when you could have won that race? How dare you say congratulations and be noble and a gentleman in that moment? Rip his face off. That's populism. Which do you want? The normies want the fight. And the media's giving them the fight. The administration's giving them the fight. So this is a ramp up. And we're not going to love the consequences of where this ends up. Yeah. I can warn you of that.
And don't you think these news organizations love when he goes after one of them and now they have all this attention and ammo and...
Love it. Feeds on it.
Yeah.
Learned an important lesson for the first administration when he got $6 billion worth of free publicity by every news station, just endlessly talking about him, even if it was an insult, even if it was a compliment. It's more insult than compliment. Free publicity.
Yeah, I mean, even if he's like insulting one of their reporters, that reporter now just blows up all over the internet and everywhere. So does their news station. Everybody was talking a while back about, they said Trump made a comment about Zelensky not wearing a suit, and it actually wasn't Trump. It was a reporter who said it. I don't think anyone knew who that reporter was until that moment when everybody was like, oh, who's this guy? This guy was being a jerk. Oh, this guy's known for a jerk.
Press pool and like nobody would even know my name unless I said something that was controversial. And the next press pool, you're going to be like, what else controversial can I say? So people will pay attention to me. And we're allowing press pool people to become famous as people who will, just like that race car driver. The person that will punch somebody in the face is the person that I'm attracted to. That's where we're at in politics, and that does not have a good end. Laura says, Elon has great ideas. Trump should be listening to him more. Obama was status quo. Trump is a wild card with his mouth. Yep. Upside and downside to being that person, and I hope we can stomach it. because this is I say that when he won this last time, that it is going to be a wild ride. And that was like, and I thought I was being dramatic when I said that. It is going to get even a wilder ride from here.
Yeah.
Mark my words.
Julie says, what policies has Trump implemented that you think are smart? Not the border. We agree on that.
So when you have different ideological differences, then the strategy sort of like is incongruent between two people. What is important to me from a governmental standpoint is I snapshot where we are as a government and what I feel would make us better. What do I feel would make us better? So you have attrition, where you make what you have better than it is before, right? Or you pull it out at the root and you remake it because it's gone way off course. So from a libertarian's perspective, there ain't no fixing. That was my... There ain't no fixing, and we need to uproot it. So when it comes to smart, you have a system that has defense mechanisms against being rooted out. You have people who are insulated from prosecutions. You have power positions that nobody votes on. You have a lot of comfortable people in government positions. So how do you intelligently get rid of someone who's really hard to get rid of? So if I'm taking intelligence, I'm like, all right, Department of Education, the CDC, the NIH, every three-letter organization in government is insulated from any controls whatsoever. So I look over at NGOs and I'm like, man, that's going to be hard to get rid of because it's outside the government. It's not regulated by this stuff. How can we do it? Well, there's only real one way: starve it out, right? And then you're like, okay, well, how do I starve out an NGO that basically money launders money back to people that are responsible for funding? So if NGOs were giving you money, you would protect the NGOs because you want more money.
Yeah.
And if I starve you out, then you're not going to have any more money. So what incentive does a congressman or a senator to starve in an NGO that supplies all the money that I can need for my pet projects? So the smartness is like, it's hard to get rid of. Nobody's going to support me on this. It's going to be very unpopular. Yeah, let's effing do it. Right?
Yeah.
So the smartness is being able to find out and butting up against democracy and butting up the Constitution and butting up the judicial system is the intelligent ways, because all of this stuff is superficial. Every executive order that comes down the pike is superficial. One challenge, right? And it's dead, because as soon as you, like, for instance, cutting a budget item, the proper way of cutting a budget item is the legislature to be able to make it into law, right? Throw money out the door and funding it, and then the executive spends into that thing. If you want to cut it, you got to take the people who are benefiting from it, right, and convince them somehow to not let that happen. But if I can sign an executive order under certain circumstances that allows me to do the thing and make it uncomfortable, and let the public get a glimpse in it. So psychological war. I'm going to take a thing that's unpopular. We're sending $40 billion to lesbian dance theory in Uganda, right? There's nobody in the population that's going to be like, yeah, that $40 billion was well spent. So I'm going to psychologically use something that's very unpopular, use populism against them, right?
Yeah.
Knowing that it's not going to stand the test of time. And after I sign that executive order, the next session of Congress is going to have to figure out whether or not that money needs to be spent again. They could very well undo what I'm about to do. But the brilliant part is it wasn't about one line item. You know what it was about? It was about throwing 1 million of these and making you then, if you're going to fight up against it, you're going to have to pick and choose which ones you hit. And my executive orders, maybe they're not constitutional. Maybe they don't have any lasting ability, but I'm going to overwhelm you with the number of things that I do. And I might only get 50% of these things to actually stick. And it's only because you don't have the staffing or the support to fight all of them. So I'm going to get some of my way, and you're going to combat some in your way. So you're going to have to pick your favorites. And I'm going to win by default. And that was the answer to your question is the smart thing was this was a battle against the operations of the machine, and not necessarily any one given thing was not intelligent on its own, but the way it was administered and strategized really impressed me.
So it's not like you could say, oh, this policy was good and the way he did this was good and the way he did this was good. He knows what he's doing with all of this.
Hit you with volume.
Knowing that some's not going to pan out, but I know some will.
Exactly.
And it's his strategy, really.
So you had I'm going to get 0% done if I just do things the legitimate way.
Yeah.
Versus I'm going to overwhelm your systems to get 50% done. I'm going to take some L's on the 50% that gets overturned on the judicial or the legislative side. But I still got 50% where I would have not gotten anything had I not tried this. That's the...
Yeah. Well, everyone's like, well, that's not constitutional and he can't do that. He's like, whatever. He's doing something else already.
Yeah. Yeah. And you could make the argument that half of the stuff that he did was unconstitutional. He doesn't believe in the law and he's a lawbreaker and it was illegal. Yes, the volume of the nature of what he did meant that he was going to throw a bunch of... And because he learned so much about the media, that they were going to take exception to certain things and make a really big deal, I would put bait out there. So if I've got 10 things I don't want you to pay attention to, I'm going to create one that you're going to spend all your energy on. I'm going to lob that one, knowing that's going to get decimated. So all these other ones can sneak through.
He's sort of banking on you to have a fit about this.
So if
he can do this.
If I'm doing 10 things, I'm like, man, if somebody it's boring, but somebody's going to make a big deal about it and they're going to disturb this thing over here. I'm going to call someone Miss Piggy, and then every news cycle is going to be about Miss Piggy instead of the stuff that I'm doing over there. That's sleight of hand, and that is genius when it comes to knowing who your enemy is. The Art of War, I'm telling you, if you have never got the summary or read the book Art of War, if you want to find parallels, is exactly what Trump is doing, has done, and will do. That is the book you need to read to know exactly what's going to happen in the future.
So do you think it's not just that he's a bit brash and immature, but that he's using that as a tactic?
Purposely doing it. Purposely. And I don't want to give the spoilers away because I want him to keep eating through that strategy. But then it's like, if Trump said, hey, you know what? I mean, there's my Trump impression. They paid attention to me on the news when I said something outlandish and gave me $6 billion, the best $6 billion that I've ever had in my life. I'm going to do it again, and they're still going to pay attention to me. No matter if I say it.
I'm very smart. I'm a very smart man.
I'm brilliant, and it's the most brilliant plan ever. They can't help themselves, and they will pay attention to it. And the media is like, yeah, that's probably true. We did give them some news cycles on
publicity.
This. And then he says it again and they can't help themselves. They'll do it again. And he can overtly say, here's what I'm going to do.
Look how quickly everybody was screaming about the Epstein files. And now everybody's screaming about his decorum with reporters.
Yep. If you don't think that everybody and everything is being played, I got news for it. While you're thinking about the details of calling someone piggy, right? What's happening on below the table is everything that's important. Above, not
this
so
is
much.
A man who I bet you has been using PR his entire adult life.
Psychological manipulation from the very beginning.
He knows about it.
Yep.
He knows how to use it.
Yep.
Benefit from it.
Very effectively. And you have to have a personality type that can handle that. You know, like people, you ever got to know an extreme extrovert?
An extreme extrovert?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. What profession is best for extreme extroverts?
Oh, gosh. Usually sales.
Yes. Why?
Because they're very talkative, engaging. They're not afraid to, get all up in your business.
Oh, it's not that they're afraid. It's not that they're afraid.
They're not afraid to.
If you took someone in sales and said, you're going to make 100 phone calls and you're going to get told yes once and you're going to get told no, and a mad person that's going to, throw all kind of vulgar insults at you 99 times, there's a special person that can endure that and not give two shits that just happened. They're going after the simple win and they can put it in their jacket and not care about it, the 99 losses. A special person, because most of us need positive reinforcement because we got a bunch of real sensitive, delicate people who they want to told yes a whole lot, and could somebody else, factor in the nose there. Right?
Yeah.
So if you get a Trump in your lifetime that can survive the mud that gets thrown at him and really just takes it in stride, doesn't even get stressed about it, you have a beast and a monster that can endure a whole lot on that playing field, and you're going to get owned by them because of their nature.
Patricia says, I think that defunding underwater basket weaving classes in Ethiopia was a great idea.
Absolutely.
Underwater basket weaving class. Was that a real thing?
No. She was being flippant, just like I am flippant.
I bet it was a real thing.
Dude, if I find out that there was a line item in a budget for underwater basket weaving, I will throw up.
Patricia, is that a real thing? Because I bet you it was.
I don't think it is.
I bet you it was.
But use it as a metaphor for every other stupid thing we spend money on. I had a great conversation about this. Just the other day, we talked about the food that was earmarked for some of this USAID, right? And the don't kick the puppies thing is alive and well, right? So you take a good thing, which is sending people cabbage, right? And feeding their families. And you're like, now that we have that, right, we can leverage the kicking puppy dogs and getting a whole lot of stuff. And then you can't touch it, because the minute that you touch it, all I'm going to say is, why do you hate kids?
Yeah,
and why do you
you're a terrible person who wants to kick puppies.
And they will capitalize on that in 21 seconds. So where we had cabbage sitting on the dock that had nowhere to go, that is what we talked about, rather than the underwater basket weaving that we were really going after.
She says she was being flippant, but
yes,
I bet you there was something similar.
And I acknowledge the use of flippantism during this show, Patricia.
Carter says, do Putin now, Joe. Love the Russian accent.
can't do Putin because he's so soft spoken, and I go have the Russian accent. It's not gonna work. I'm sorry. I can't do Putin.
Can't do the
Russian.
Did
you see Putin dancing with a robot, by the way?
No. What?
Yeah. So Kim Jong-il and Kim Jong-un and all of these leaders that, when they get displeased, they just murder someone. When I'm watching this, like, I feel bad for the engineers, right? Because all of those administrations care about is how they're postured. They're fierce and they're badass. And if you embarrass me, it's not the robot that's going to pay the consequences. So the engineer who was like, Vladimir Putin, I want to show you my robot. That's not even Russian, but I don't even care. And then Vladimir Putin is going to good look for Mother Russia. Is going to be very proud of your dancing robot. Make me proud. And your engineer's like, okay, he's paying attention to me. He's changed into a different accent now. He's paying attention to me, but this thing better dance perfectly. And if this thing doesn't, like, let's just say it goes in front of Putin and it falls over, Putin's going to smile and say, take care of engineer. And the engineer, you hear, pop, pop, right? In the background. We know the engineer that had the robot that fell over just got smoked, right? And I feel bad for that engineer. Everything's on the line.
That's a real thing?
What, the dancing robot? No engineers died. The robot did fine at Dance with Putin. He smirked and smiled. But I'm picturing if it were to fall over and the sweat is coming on that engineer who set this thing up. Like you're the team this is Saturday Night Live. So the team for North Korea, right?
Yeah.
If they don't qualify for their deals, they're dead meat. They send people there to make North Korea look proud. And if they're like, I tried my hardest and I ran fastest. Hey, where's Bob? Bob's missing. He didn't qualify for the Olympics, and now he disappears off of the face of the earth.
Your robot failed.
Engineer dead.
You're done. Brian says, sales, lawyers, politicians, they just don't give a damn.
Absolutely. Do we expect them to? Do we not want an effective, like, extroverted, impervious to any kind of emotional repercussions? We want those in positions that can do their job in the face of dangers and pressures and anxieties. That's why we send SEAL Team 6 things, right? They can kill, not even complain. They suffered all of their training so that they are completely decommissioned from being a normal person. That's why we do it.
Yeah, I've always said I could never be a lawyer or a doctor or any position that someone's life is in my hands. I just can't. I don't want that kind of responsibility. So to have that, you almost have to sort of shut it off, disconnect a bit, or else how else do you do it? Sales. I did sales briefly. I hate sales. I hate it. It's just so, People always just say, oh, you'd be great at sales. You're so outgoing. Yeah, I'm outgoing. I like people. I don't like convincing people If it's something that I don't truly buy into, I don't think you should do it. I'm not going to make you seem like you should do it. Waste time. Cold calling. Why don't you just shoot me in the head?
You're born in the wrong body because you would master that.
Sales?
Yeah.
Everybody tells me that.
You would.
I don't master it. I tried it once.
You could, though. If you put your mind to it, you could do it.
I don't know. I do wonder.
So you run into somebody, some girl, right?
Yeah.
And she is 6'7". What does everybody say to the 6'7" girl?
That's a tall girl.
You say, you should play basketball. Why? Because you were born with something that gives you an advantage. There's a person that's born into a 5'4" body that can't reach the top shelf in the library, right? And we're like, I want to be good at this, but I just lack some kind of thing I was born with to be able to do it. So when you're born with an ability, the rest of us are like, why aren't you utilizing the thing that you were born with? You'd have to develop that. I have to put little insoles in my shoe to get another half an inch, right? And you have that. So that's all that's being recommended.
So do you think the one sales job I had that was like legit sales, and the only reason I even took it is I knew it was temporary. It was always going to be temporary. So all I had to do was just survive a couple of months. It was awful. It was awful. I made very, very few sales. I could say, well, it was a difficult product. It was a very hard thing to sell. I didn't really have much of a market. I had coworkers that had been there for years that had everybody in the area. I had no one to even attempt. All these different excuses, but it felt like it was me. Like everyone told me you're going to be great at that. And I was like, I'm not. So why not then?
Well, you're in denial, right? And when you fetch your subconscious, you tell your subconscious to fetch to make me something that's good. You already denied that portion of the other multiverses.
Yeah.
Until you realized exactly what you published.
I think I seem good at it when I'm doing it subconsciously, maybe. Like I would look at myself as a networker, not a salesperson.
Mm-hmm.
I love to network. I love to get people together. I love to make connections like, hey, you were looking for an office recently, yeah? Yeah. Didn't you say you had office space for rent? Yeah. Hey, Bob, Joe, here you go. Like that I love doing. And so everybody's like, oh, well, you could sell. And I think when I sell on purpose, I don't know what I'm doing. Feels forced, feels unnatural.
I have 1,000 things I want to say, but I'm not going to say any of them. This is the restraint.
Are they insulting?
I'm not saying them because they're a topic all on their own, right? And you're not asking for them. So I'm pushing them into me and saying, I will just tell you that you're in complete denial. That's all I'll say.
You think I'm a salesperson?
I'm not saying anything.
One time somebody told me, they're like, you know what you need to get into? You need to get in pharmaceutical sales. They're like, you would make so much money. And one, I say, highly doubtful. And two, I don't really want to push drugs on people. It's not something I would enjoy doing, so I probably wouldn't be very good at it.
Okay.
What, do you disagree?
Moving on. No, I'm not saying anything else about it. Sales requires you to give people fake compliments. I could never do it with a straight face.
Do you think it requires fake compliments?
Social manipulation could be done anyway. And again, if you're born with certain things, you become you can add to those natural abilities versus the developed abilities. And I always recommend when somebody has something that they're already good at to just build upon that rather than taking someone who's at an extreme disadvantage and try to develop something. It's just easier. But I think people who develop from extreme disadvantage end up being better than the people who take it for granted because they were born with it. So, but again, from a logic standpoint, it's easier for me to take someone like you and make them into a good seller than someone who has to learn everything from scratch. The person that has no disadvantage, has no advantage, they have to manipulate socially with more intensity than someone who was born with it. So something that would be easy, it's harder over here. Yeah. So if this person has to, turn on their charisma and give compliments and buy people cupcakes, they have more stuff to overcome, and they overcompensate in those areas to be able to get what you could do without even trying, with no cupcakes and no compliments, could do just
doesn't seem as natural.
It is, right.
I've had people in different industries tell me, I can train you to do anything, but I can't train personality. Like, I can't make someone have this personality. So if you have that, I can
But you
teach
could, if you decided that's what you were going to do, in spite of you not having any natural talents or abilities there. I've seen people do it. I've helped people do it. It's a harder deal, but they can become just as good as someone who had a natural ability, because natural ability, they're apathetic and they don't even know it's an ability.
I don't like hearing endless no's all day long. That's depressing.
Yeah. Well, that's your brand. That is what you've bought into.
That knows knows all day.
Yeah.
You can make me not care.
Yeah. A skilled salespeople knows how to get yeses. And sometimes it's complicated to be able to get a yes, but feeling someone out and knowing that you can go in and get a yes is a sales strategy that sometimes takes some manipulation.
All right. Well, you also said I could change my diet, and I didn't believe that could happen, and it did.
Listen, if there's anything that you learn from me, it's that Joe is always right. Always.
WWJD.
Always right.
What would Joe do?
You might have a misunderstanding about what I'm saying, but I'm always right. There's not a single thing that I say that isn't grounded in truth. And that's what I've developed, is just being able to know when something is real and something is not. And I will tell you, this is real.
All right. What do I do with that?
With what?
I don't know. What do I do with that?
The utility in knowing that you can become anything without, just sort of sabotaging yourself by telling you can't do something. There's your starting point. Stop sabotaging yourself first, right? And then start telling yourself what you're going to do and stop disagreeing with what you told yourself to do.
This is a good lesson for everyone.
Yeah.
Stop sabotaging yourself.
Yes.
I always hear like these motivational quotes that are things like, do one thing every day that puts you closer to what you're trying to accomplish. Yep. You believe in that?
Law of probabilities.
Even if it's little, even if it's small, do something.
If you're a normie, don't do it.
What does that mean?
If you're a normie, just live your little Stepford Wives lives and don't try to take quotes and make something of them.
You called me a normie.
Yes. You're on the high end of normie. So you're
very
on the border.
Contradicting.
Like, you can see the fence where you could see abnormal people on the other side. And you could join them. It's just one little fence jump away. But you're on the top end of normie where you're just kind of an observer. That's where you're at.
So could someone on the top end of normie become what's not a normie? What are you?
Oh, dude, I'm so far above normie. It's not even.
Is there a term for it?
I don't think I'm just a high functioning person. High functioning
person.
Yes.
A normie is a lower functioning person.
Single dimensional, 3 dimensions of existence.
You're multi-dimensional.
Yeah. So one of your truths are, right? So normies, they experience something they don't like and they go to the gym for 3 months, but then the chemicals that made them go to the gym dissipate and they stop going to the gym, and they repeat the cycle where they get in a position where they go up a flight of stairs and can't breathe. And then they come to the conclusion again, they go to the gym, and sort of these endless cycles of knowing what the problem was, knowing they had a solution, but at some point buying out because they needed chemicals to keep them in there rather than deciding that they were going to do it. Right. Mm-hmm. So you have stuck into your nutritional and health stuff for countless years, long after the chemicals, long after the encouragement from other people. So you're on the top side of normie,
stuck
where
with
you
discipline when motivation faded.
The regimen of deciding something for yourself and not letting anything talk you out of it. Other people's criticisms, don't give 2 shits, right?
Wow.
You decided and you just do. So that's why you're on the top end of normies. But in other facets, you haven't taken that same philosophy and started swinging it into other directions. When you do that, now you're over the fence. You're no longer a normie. So you figured out in one dimension. You just need to move that to other things.
Are you going to be my Miyagi with this?
No. I've already taught you all that you need to know. It's the same thing. I just repeating myself.
I want to be multi-dimensional.
You can. You're close.
How? You said you won't teach me.
I've already taught you.
Oh my Lord.
I'm not going to repeat repetition for you. All you got to do is take things that I've already said, right, and apply them in different departments. So the Bible is good at this, right? They give you these allegories that are supposed to teach you the principle of something, and then you get to figure out how to apply all those allegories in different departments. If you get hung up on the burning bush, right, and you're sabotaging it because it's, you can't see the philosophy and the dimension in it, then you lose, right? Because it was single dimensional. If you can apply it in 50 different departments, now you got 50 dimensions of application. Now you get to say, all right, I know about it, I believe in it, and I can apply it here, 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 here. Now you get to be not a normie anymore.
Okay. Julie says, knowledge and belief in your product can make you a natural salesperson. And I agree. Like I've always been into public speaking. It doesn't bother me like it bothers other people. And people have always said, well, aren't you scared? Don't you get nervous? Yeah. But I can still do it if I know what I'm talking about. If I am prepared and knowledgeable about what I am speaking about. If I'm not, no, I'm not comfortable. Yes, I'm nervous. I don't know how this is going to go. If I'm secure and like, I got this, I know exactly what I'm saying and what I can back it up. I can answer questions. I can tell you the ins and outs of something. Not nervous. I don't know though, because sales, you can still know something in and out and it cannot be something somebody needs.
I'm not saying anything because this takes me down the path of the thing I'm not going to talk about. So I'm going to stay.
What is it you're not going to talk about? Will you tell me later?
No, no. Listen, this would counteract all good things that we've talked about, and I'm not going to do that to you.
How would it counteract?
Listen, Grasshopper, you are not ready for the advanced ninja training. That's later. Be patient.
Am I still painting the fence?
You're still painting the fence.
Wax on, wax off.
You're waxing off. You're waxing on.
That didn't sound right.
No, it did. It sounded.
I mean, I got it. Just sounded.
Yes. Sounded what?
Sounded off. Yeah. Sounded a bit off.
Patricia. But I get enthralled when I watch you wax off. I do. It makes it. I'm bought into that. You still have the regimen of waxing off.
Hits the ear funny.
Yes,
is all I'm saying.
I like that you're still waxing off. I think you should do it regularly.
It hits the ear a little funny.
Every day you should wax off.
That figure of speech, that expression just sounds a little off.
Do you prefer like clockwise waxing off, or do you like counterclockwise wax? Which is more comfortable? Which feels better for you?
Patricia says, but Joe predicted Tito would win the election.
No.
So now I rely less on his predictions. Hold on.
LOL. The logic in that, it's like no crystal ball there. I was going by that Tito had institutional support. We had a backing of the Democrat Party.
Still an educated prediction.
Yeah, but it wasn't something that I would be certain of. It was a best guess based on coin flip type of data. So yes, I said I thought he was going to win, but it's not something I would. If you said, "Hey, I'm going to Polymark and I'm going to put some money on Tito winning," I would say, "Don't do it. It's too much of a coin flip."
I saw an article recently. I didn't read it, so I don't know for sure, but it was something like Derek picking his people, what's the word?
His administration, his directors,
administration,
his advisors, all that kind of stuff.
You want any part of that?
No,
Dude,
the whole time I'm reading that, I'm thinking, please don't ding my phone, please, because I hope he does. I do not want to have to say, like, I sort of rehearsed what I was going to say.
I'm flattered. Thank you. No.
Yeah, I got way too many things going on right now.
I'm really busy. As
much as I'd like to help, there are far smarter people out there than me that you should go after.
I'm really busy being Kellen's mentor. That's like a full-time job.
Yes, she needs to wax off and I need to help her.
Yeah, I think you should do it. I don't know what, but something.
Yeah, well, I will have conversations, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like
an advisor position.
Yeah, but like I've been invited to a bunch of boards, right? And I think boards are for normal people, And
to be a board member.
Yeah. Colossal
For
waste of time, right?
Yeah.
So you invest 99% of your time into something where you're really only getting 1% of influence or being able to share or whatever. And I'm not into that. I'd rather not do that stuff. I already have limited time. I'm not going to give it into something where I have very, very few things that are my problem. But if I just had an advisory role, when I had something intelligent to say, I would say it. There's my 1%, and I don't have to
like
go
put in
through
your
meetings.
2 cents when it matters.
100%.
Not every little thing that you gotta.
I don't gravitate or being part of groups or tribes or anything like that. So when I'm on I've been on a bunch of commissions, right? And I was part of the technical side, maybe the marketing side. And so maybe we have lots of things to discuss. We have this department, which is, scripting or whatever. I don't need to hear it. I don't need to be involved in it. I don't need to be apprised of it. So I'm only going to be there. Let me know when my part is necessary. Let me know the time frame where you need me to say something. And I'm going to not be there before, and I'm going to not be there after. I'm just going to be there during. And that's sort of.
So you would sort of be a part of way back when I worked for a chamber of commerce, we had these things called tags. There was like an economic development tag, tourism, military relations. You would want that. Like not so much a board that I got to be at every meeting, even though I'm not part of it, but you would want like your tag, your own. Is that what you mean? Like with commission?
Yeah. Wasted time in being part of a group that is self-important, but at the end of the day didn't do anything. I'd bow, and I think government doesn't really have a good value on time. And I know they would waste a bunch of it with me. So I'm not down with that.
I can see that. MLO bros say, Joe, go help Derek. The MLO bros can run the shop while you're gone. If you do that.
It's been said. Is that bad? Do you think
MLO bros would do a fabulous job.
There we go.
I'm sure they're incredibly competent people.
Confident, yes.
Very confident. Yes,
they got some confidence. All right, what else we want to talk about?
Oh, let's see. Talked about Matrix. Talked about Trump. Talked about National Man's Day something. Give me some coffee, Kellen, now. No, not doing it.
Work on your sales pitch for that. If you want coffee from Kellen, you're going to have to put some effort into it. It's going to have to be done with nice words and perfect setting. She's not easy.
Kellen and the MLO bros would be awesome.
What?
No? You don't think me and what would it look like if me and Isaac and Luke teamed up?
I think you would change them a little bit and they would change you a little bit. And I don't know that I'd want either one of those changes. So I do not recommend
I always had brothers. So I've always sort of been comfortable with the idea of like brothers. I could see them that way, sort of.
All right. So, okay, let's talk about interns, right? This is a little bit of a metaphor. So, YSU sends communications majors down to us to do internship for the studio, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that could have an impact on that student's life to have some kind of experience that could either help them in their careers.
I've lived that.
With insights, right?
Yeah.
You had impressionable
I was
people.
a communications major at YSU and I had to do an internship and I was at a radio station.
So now, if you were sent, if an intern was sent and you had a choice, would you want to intern for Joe Danyi, who has technical, philosophical, and academic value that I can dump into your brain and make you a better person because you had that experience? Or would you prefer to be an intern for the MLO bros that would abuse you, diminish you, make you go get coffee for them, embarrass you, make them the butt of every joke? Yeah. Which one would you'd be able to carry the value of the interactions forward? Which would you hit?
The Joe Danyi.
Okay, so you're an intern with me right now,
yeah.
And you're contemplating being an intern for the worst podcast in the area.
Wait, why do I have to be the intern? Why can't I be the same
We're talking
level?
Metaphorically. You're the one who brought it to reality. I'm saying, let's just say somebody got sent to me as an intern. All right.
I would obviously say, stay far away from MLO, learn from Joe first.
So you got the
foundation.
Straws. You got the straws. You pulled the long straw and you're like, lottery. Why would you go back and pick the short straw after having already won the lottery?
That's a good point.
Nobody would do that unless they're fascinated with the destruction that comes along with the short straw. You're not supposed to want to do the short straw.
Brian says giving the MLO bros is like the Browns drafting a QB 100%. At number 1.
You get drafted by the Patriots, right? And then you're contemplating moves. Do you want a lateral move? Do you want an improved move?
I want to go up,
not down, right?
Yeah.
So an intern going from Joe to them would be like going from the Patriots to the Browns.
Would you dare say I am above the MLO bros in some ways?
I just don't see any.
Look, if you could just say yes,
no connective
that'd be great.
tissue. It's a bad marrying. I would never. But also, like, Luke has this wife who is super smart, super patient, super kind. And that is a marrying that I'm like, how does that even function? So it's in the same thing. Like,
maybe she's also a philanthropist that believes in charity.
There's anomalous things that happen, and that is one of them. So it could work. But if those two were not together, I would never pick those two people out of the entire marketplace and say, hitch those two up. So yeah, it's possible.
MLO says, Joe's so boring. Yawn of an internship. The people that literally talk about their bathroom habits called Joe Danyi boring.
Yes.
And I'm the normie.
If there was a spectrum and there was Joe, Kellen, MLO bros, you'd be situated between the two. Bathroom humor.
Closer to you?
Closer to me. Yeah, okay. You're on the top side of the border.
I'm the upper.
Yes.
They're the lower.
Very lower. Very lower. And I do love them, and I hate that I'm talking shit about them. And I know,
I like them too.
I'm gonna get shit handed to me tomorrow. I know it.
But I do feel like of the group, and I'm not around them very much at all. Would you say it's fair to say that concerning them, I'm like the little sister? That's how I think they see it. Like Kellen, run along, and I'm like, guys, take me, guys, come on. You know why? Because I'm the only girl. That's why I get called an intern. I get compared to an intern. It's never CEO, it's intern. I've had that my whole life. The moment someone looks at me, oh, are you the intern? No, MFer, I'm actually running this, but thanks.
Their introduction was Kellen, get me coffee.
I know, right? They're jerks.
So everything that I have said, I've articulated a great argument. They did in one sentence by, bitch, get me coffee. So it'd be easy to decide.
Good looks and charm. Is that me or you guys? Isaac and Luke. Good looks and charm. Is that how he got his wife? He said a shallow dating pool in Youngstown.
Shallow dating pool, good looks and charm. Yeah.
Julie says Kellen would definitely hold her own.
But I think Luke would do really great at sales too, because I can't see anybody saying something to him that would ever make him change gears at all. And in fact, the meaner you were with him, the more he would get confident in making the sale. So he'd be
they're both in sales.
So if he landed a 10 for a wife, right, it's because he's good at selling himself, and he put on the charm and he put on whatever he had to get in a better position. So I'll give props to him for making that happen.
That's true. Julie says, get your own effing coffee.
That is what you should say.
And I don't even mind if it's someone like Joe. I would give Joe coffee all day long. I don't mind it at all. But I think if Luke came in here and was like, Kellen, get me coffee, I'd probably laugh. I'd probably be like, okay, well, when you get yours, put cream in mine. Thanks.
And that translates to like politics. I want people representing me that do not want the job. Do not. Like, you have to drag them in there kicking and screaming. Anybody who wants to be president or wants to be a congressman, I think they should be stricken off of the list for sure. So me as an advisor,
not because of their desire for change, but just to be in that position.
That they want to be there. I'm questioning that. So if a person that I have the abilities to probably really help out the city of Youngstown, right? I have the willingness even to help out the city of Youngstown, and I want nothing to do with the process of helping out Youngstown. So they should drag my ass in there against my will, make me do public service against my will, right? And that is probably it would disqualify a lot of the people who, okay, so you take a Nancy Pelosi or a Cory Booker. These are brain dead people. These are really dumb people that have made their way and served multiple decades in the halls of government. Pluck that person out and put them into industry. Do you think that they would do really well? Where would they be right now if they didn't make their way into government?
I don't know.
Nancy Pelosi would probably be a manager at a hotel chain. That's where I picture Nancy Pelosi.
Manager at a hotel chain.
At a hotel chain. And Cory Booker would be in like construction, field work, something that, you know, you use your hands on. That's where those two would end up. And have you ever done that? Have you ever run into like a doppelganger, somebody you know, and they're in a completely different field? And when you see them, you're like, my friend who's an investment banker, I'm watching clear a table at a restaurant. And those two comparisons are like, you could very easily have made a couple of different decisions, and that could be freaking you.
Somebody just recently told me, they said, hey, do you work at, and I can't remember the name of the business. And I said, no. And they're like, you don't work there. You've never worked there. I said, I don't even know what that is. And there's like, I'm telling you, there is a you that works there, looks exactly like you. Yep. And I'm like, is that the multiverse? Maybe.
Yep. And I'd like to take those two people who already look the same.
Yeah.
And reverse them and see how easily that they could integrate into the other's lives and how their posture, mannerisms, and method of speech would change once that they're conditioned by their environment rather than what they thought they were. Like, how much is that a reflection of what you do? So if you're an investment banker, you probably speak a different way and carry yourself differently. And one of the examples, I was on a cruise, and one of the guys, I think he was from either Spain or India, and he was in one of the maintenances that clean up all of the restaurant, pick up the towels and set the table and bust the tables and whatnot. And, you know, who he looked like was Gary Vee. And when I spoke with this guy, like, he had the same body and the face of Gary Vee, was a completely different, you know, different personality.
Weird.
But I could picture Gary Vee's personality. I could see this dude saying what Gary Vee says. I'm thinking how different that interaction would be if those two would have switched spots. It would be amazing.
It'd probably be similar to like meeting an actor that you know from a certain role. That is their personality. You always see them in this role. And then you sort of see them in real life and you're like, wait, you're not that. You look like them, but that's not you. That would be weird.
Mm-hmm. And those method actors, the people like Billy Bob Thornton. Are you watching any Billy Bob stuff right now, by the way? Landmen?
I get served a lot of the reels on social media, but I've never actually watched the show.
Okay. So you take people like Nicolas Cage or Anthony Hopkins or Billy Bob Thornton, and they play a role of Sling Blade. Got the potatoes.
Goddamn friends, Robert Dater.
And I reckon I ain't gonna kill nobody.
I reckon I got no reason to
kill no one. You take that personality and
Mm-hmm.
watch him perform in something that is in a completely different setting where he's playing a completely different character. And you're like, that was the same dude who played both of those roles. And I felt differently about each one of those characters. That's impressive when they can do that. Typecast people that, you know, I think the Leslie Nielsen, when he went and did Naked Gun versus his normal role.
Yeah.
Like, he still was on the fringes is what he normally does, but to watch him poke fun at himself and be mocked in the script.
Yeah.
That was definitely a weird one.
Yeah. Like, I always say, a lot of people talk about Kristen Stewart being a good actress. You know who that is?
She's not a good actress.
I said, show me Kristen Stewart as a peppy, extroverted cheerleader. If she can pull that off, I'll say she's a good actress. But she, to me, is the same in every role she's ever been in.
Yeah.
One trick.
Yeah, have her take it and say, let's just say, have her be an overbearing mother that is keeping hostage and psychologically manipulating her son, right? Have her play that role where it's a heavy role where she's got to play some psychology on her expressions and her character.
It can't just be like that all the time. That face all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Keanu Reeves, but to me, Keanu Reeves will always be like, "This is insane." Like that's his all the time. That's his personality.
Yeah. Right.
That's it.
That was your impression of Keanu Reeves. That was
nailed it.
All right.
Luke equals Tommy Callahan. He could sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves. Tommy likey. Tommy want wingy.
He was awesome. He's so funny. Cory Booker would be in sales of some type to do his ability to waffle very well. Nancy Pelosi would be a retired school superintendent. That's another really good one.
I could totally see that. I could see that.
Yep.
I could see Cory Booker in sales. If it's who I'm picturing, he's fairly good looking, isn't he?
If you're
Cory Booker,
that. Like, I mean,
let's pull him up. Make sure I'm picturing the right person.
He looks like a Mr. Potato Head.
He's sort of like dark skin but light eyes. Corey Feldman, definitely not.
Mr. Potato Head. See all his many expressions.
He's not as much as I thought, but
there is I don't know, he's a little pissed off, a little happy Corey, a little bit coy Corey.
I could see him being like a basketball coach.
Yeah. But you just pop out his eyes and put new eyes on, and you can get a lot of different iterations of Cory Booker.
I could see him doing something with sports.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know why, but I could see him being like a sports announcer, coach, something. I don't know.
So investments in Congress.
Investments in Congress.
Yeah, since we talked about the Epstein files and how nothing would come of this. Also, Congress inflicting rules upon themselves that limit the number of investments that they could make personally to prosper when they're making laws and regulations for other people, right? Seems like slam dunk, right? The people who are like, yeah, you shouldn't go there and become ultra wealthy where we paid you $100,000 a year and you put up $130 million at the end of your 8-year term. How does that effing happen? Well, should be pretty easy. But here's why it won't happen. Or even if it does happen, that it won't happen. Now, I'll ask you, do you think that politicians, when they do public service, should get ultra wealthy from the pursuit?
No.
Okay. And what would you do to stop it?
I'd make it more service-minded, not a career path, to just stay in power with no real audit system or
it's very cool by you, but how would you do it? So how do people become wealthy when they go and serve time in Congress?
Investments?
Okay.
I don't know.
That's one. There's like 50 ways they can make a lot of money, and they do a little different flavor of each one of these. So if you know that a drug's coming down the road or a technology's coming down the road and you get wind of it, that regulations are going to be necessary 6 months from now, and then you buy the stock in the company that you're about to vote on, like you got information like Martha Stewart about
insider
something that's
trading,
happen, and you made an investment. Here's why we can't regulate this, because here's what happens, right? These are lawyers, remember. There's 5 million different ways. So here's the thing. So we make it a rule that Kellen, once she's there, has to divest completely from all companies. No, not even conflict of interest, just no investments whatsoever. You're here to serve and whatever.
Yeah.
So then Kellen says, okay, I personally can't do this. What about my husband? Can he invest things too? Or what about my cousin? Well, what about an LLC that I opened in Wisconsin and put Deborah over there, and she's the investor? So I just give Deborah money. Deborah invests. And the rule is that once I'm out of Congress, I take that LLC and I just sell off all of the assets. It pays me a consultation fee, and all the money that you thought you were, starving me of, I'm just going to go get. I mean, it's super easy just to, use the information and give it. You got to prove now that I gave that LLC information. How are you going to shut that one down, Kellen? Not going to happen. Second thing is paid speaking, right? So I can go to Bill Clinton and pay him $30 million to come and give a speech somewhere for a 30-minute speech. He comes in, collects his check. Now it is the, how do you shut that one down? Are you going to deprive people of doing speaking engagements? Tell people what they can charge to have him on stage? They'll find ways of getting money to that dude.
Yeah.
Okay. Or here's another one. I'm going to write a book, right? The people who support me, they aren't allowed to give me money normally. I make a little agreement with them. Buy 100,000 of my books. So they buy 100,000. It's in a warehouse right now. They didn't even read them. It wasn't to the regular people, but it was a way that I could filter money through you, right? Or here's my favorite. Really shitty paintings. I can do some finger paints, right? Plop it on the wall.
Art.
Put it on the wall with a little light, right?
Yeah.
$30 million for that? Amazing.
Do people do that?
Hunter Biden did that.
He did?
Hunter Biden sold artwork that was really substandard shit work and got millions of dollars for those works of art.
How did I not know that?
So you can get money to those people a million different ways, and you're never going to stop people from saying, since I'm here and I have this ability, why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah.
What if there was a dude who was like, I'm just going to take the paycheck and I'm going to do my job and I'm going to live a normal life. He gets to the end of time and has a little bit in savings from the end. And he's eyeballing somebody who did 130 million in the same amount of time that he did. And is like, man, I followed all the rules and I didn't prosper. And then that person didn't go to jail or nobody feels ill about them. They had no consequences to pay for getting wealthy. I'm going to tell everybody that wants to do this, just do it because it's all upside and no downside. So 0% chance of being able to, one way of doing it. Term limits, single deal.
I was just going to say, what about term limits?
Term limit, because more opportunities find you the longer you're there, and you won't stop it, but you will at least limit how long they can.
Yeah. If it's known you're only there for this amount of time, I would think it's a little less appealing.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. We have people like, I need Nancy Pelosi and Cory Booker to get out into the real world and show their talents in the construction site and at my chain hotel.
Are you someone I want to pay millions of dollars to endorse because you did 5 minutes in this position?
Exactly.
Who cares?
Right. Yeah. So that's
term limits would solve so
many
much.
Things, so many things. There's only one argument against it, right? And that's the one reason it hasn't happened yet.
To get stuff done.
Every cycle, there would be new people starting and no one there that's been there to show them the ropes of how to get things done.
Yeah, because who would even audit it? Your competitors.
I asked Tim Ryan this one time. And I said, hey, Tim, when you were campaigning, I really bought into you because you were going to inflict change when you got there. And then when you got there, you really just merged into what was there and you stopped doing things that were change and you just got power on different committees. And his response to me, and this is not verbatim, this is kind of condensed for the sake of our audience, just paraphrasing. He said that the committees are how things got done. And if you're not on a committee, you can't get anything done. So there's no objective that says I'm going to do things off committee and enact real change. So I had to get on the committee. And committees have insulated themselves that you don't let people on your committee that are going to push against the status quo. So there's stopgaps in an immune system between somebody that's just a freshman senator coming in there and saying, I'm going to set the world on fire. And the rest of the people on the committee simmer down, bitch. Follow the rules. Like
Survivor. Yes. You've got to be part of an alliance.
Yes, you got to join and merge in there. And that's the reality of the machine. It breaks the spirit of new oncomers that think they're going to enact change when there's a whole bunch of seniority that's going to break that change because you're the newcomer coming in there and saying, we need to do things different. They're going to be like, listen, it took me 20 years to get these payroll or this pay that's coming in. You're not going to come in here and threatening by this idealistic change that you think everybody should adhere to. That's the way the system really works.
Yeah, because any change that would be beneficial or make sense is ultimately voted on by the people that don't want the change.
Exactly. That's why we're stuck. That's why it won't happen.
With all these, what do you call them? Executive orders.
Yes.
I feel like you can have an executive order do just about anything.
As long as it's wrapped in part of the justification for it is wrapped in something that qualifies.
Like, we can't one day get a president that's like executive order, term limits, and doing away with alliances.
Yeah.
You don't think they would?
No,
or are they not allowed?
No, executive orders are... Okay, so for instance, let's just say during the government shutdown, that something needed to be done, but Congress was unavailable. Well, I can do an executive order to fill in a short-term gap, right?
Yeah.
But then has to go to either the judiciary or back to Congress when they're back in session to either codify it and make it into something real. It's a short-term filler. So you can do something while there's a recess or while there's a threat of national security or where there's some crisis, you can use an executive order to fill in a short-term thing. But so if I did a deal for term limits, it would only last not long enough to take any kind of effect. It might, adjust one election, and it wouldn't be enough.
It's like, okay, we got term limits. We're all done at the end of this year, except by the end of the year, we work this out, and it's no longer in
executive
effect.
orders are extremely abused by every executive branch, every one of them. They figured out that they could, push some things through. And because of the apathy of Congress, some of them have hung out way longer than they should have. They should be reserved for things that we already have an apparatus to govern, not something that, because it's end around. Like if you're making a cut in some kind of budget, there's a right way of doing it. And that's taking the committee that deals with budget cuts and making them do the work that they're supposed to be doing and influencing them the way they can legitimately. Not end arounding them where you make the budget cuts and then the legislator has to push against the cuts that you made and use them as a negotiating tool on the end. It's abused.
So we as the American people are just held hostage. There's nothing we can do.
No. Nope. Except burn it all down.
I mean, we can vote. It's not like it's a dictatorship, but you ultimately can't do anything.
It's the illusion. Government is an illusion that it's not a democracy, not even a representative republic. It's giving us just enough feel that we're in control of things.
To make you feel like you have a say when really we're going to go and do whatever we want anyway.
They figured out, but that's what lawyers do. They figure out they're smarter than us. From a strategic standpoint, they know how the system works more than us. Okay. So if I can take your freshman congressman who's coming in with piss and vinegar that wants to change things, I don't have to not get him elected. All I have to do is convert him to conform and give 1,000 reasons why it's the easier way and watch these people just join the system rather than fight against the system. And so it's an immune system. It's what the body does when you get a foreign invader, right? It attacks and changes and, repels whatever it was trying to do.
Brian says term limits would help quell the insider trading, limit reps, senators' time to save as a presidential term, 8 years, but congressional elections are always midterm elections. So one congressperson will always be in service for two different presidential administrations.
So Brian, the only thing I push against that is I have heard that since I was 13 years old, right? So for 25 years. So if it's as easy as term limits and how populist and popular that opinion is, why hasn't that happened in my entire lifetime? I'm going to write in an envelope and say, "Dear Ryan, in the year 2050, I want you to open this envelope, and then inside it's going to say, is it term limits yet? Ha, 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 ha." That's all it's going to say.
Still fighting for term limits.
Yeah, they're still saying that kind of stuff. Balance the budget. That's a funny one, too. Epstein, have they revealed it yet? Ha, 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 ha.
Did you see Trump call the Epstein files a hoax?
Yes.
I just said, we're never going to know anything.
But you can interpret that. You can interpret that a certain way.
He said it's a hoax made up by the Democrats, meaning they're just it's all people, it's all Democrats on there, and they're making it seem like it's Republicans on there, and that's the hoax.
They are okay. So the overall thing, the regular opinion of regular citizens in the United States, we agree that some things have happened, and we agree that there are people walking around that need to go to prison. Right? That's the regular view. The hoax view is that when a Republican stands up and says, "I bet you it's all Democrats on there, and I'm going to, kind of cultivate this so it's all Democrats." And Democrats are like, "It's just Trump. Trump is the only one on there." That's the hoax part, because it's taking an obsession that we already have, that we just want people to have justice find them, and hoaxing it so that it was just directed at, the weapon of choosing, that we just wanted to go after a specific person. So I know what he means. He should stop saying that, because it's not in its entirety. It's not a hoax. There are hoax built into it, the way that it's being portrayed to the public.
Yeah, I can see that. Nancy and Paul Pelosi as investors have far outperformed the absolute best investment people in the world, Warren Buffett, etc., by giant amounts year over year.
They're really, really good investors. Really good. Really good.
Wonder why. Because they got the intel, illegal intel.
If you knew everything that was going on in the economy, every company that was going to do everything, every contract that was being given to someone, would you not trade that information? You could get away with it.
Yeah.
Why would you not do it?
Yeah.
If you knew that you were going to punish one company and somebody was going to get an advantage, like, hey, we're floating the idea that we want electric cars, right? And we're going to give this supplement $10,000 if the consumers go and buy a special car, right? And you're like, oh, Chevy and Tesla and Ford, they're all doing these cars. Let me put a little money in that, timed up with when that regulation hits.
What's going on with pharmaceuticals?
Oh, high sales because of that stipend. I benefit.
Hey,
from
pharmaceuticals, what's going on? What's happening? Well, this is coming and this is coming. All right.
Yeah. So before something gets released to the public, Eli Lilly comes and says, we got a cancer treatment that's going to revolutionize and solve cancer. Right. And I'm like, oh, Eli Lilly, it's a tradable stock, right? I can buy that stock. Why would you not? If you knew something was going to happen before everybody else, why wouldn't you buy Eli Lilly?
Is that legal for them to do that?
You have to prove that you made the trade based on information that everybody has to have. So the Martha Stewart model. If you can prove that this person told you this, but if it's the nature of your job to learn about all things, you can prove that you heard great information about Pfizer and you didn't buy Pfizer. So I can make the argument that you don't act on all information. If you were learn 1,000 things and only act on one of them, 99% of the things you didn't act on. So it wasn't trading on that.
Interesting.
So if there was what's the governing body for securities?
Securities?
Yeah. I'm going to say FEC, but that doesn't sound right to me. Anyway, whatever the governing body is that regulates, that kind of thing.
FDA?
No, not FDA. I can't. FEC? I don't know. Anyway, it's escaping me at the moment.
FCC?
So you can put stipulations in there. So let's just say, like the IRS works, after the fact, you get investigated for whether or not
SEC,
yes.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. You get investigated to see if there were any compromised positions, any compromised transactions, and you look into it and you do an investigation to see if it was dirty or if it was clean, right? So do I think that Nancy Pelosi acted on information that she had in the pursuit of her job? Well, there's rules governing what you're allowed to do and what not. So all I'd have to say is, okay, here's a new rule. Anything that you come in contact with in your duties, you can't act on. So if it's Pfizer, if it's an oil company, if it's tech, whatever, anytime anything rolls against your across your desk, it's a $1 million fine. So you can invest in any other companies that aren't in your purview, you have no connection with, but anything that you've ever seen, touched, tasted, you can't act. So it eliminates 1,000 companies that you were just not allowed to make stocks on. And then you have a special SEC agent group that all they do is pay attention to politicians. Every trade that they make, they look to say, answering 2 questions. Did they make a trade? Yes or no? Is it in conflict with any regulation, vote, information that they could have come across their desk on? Yes. $1 million fine, out the door. And then you dry up a lot of these, if it's not in your interest, right? Then, because you're just going to lose that money by fines anyway. But then again, like I said at the beginning of this, now I just have my brother Bob make these trades. Bob's not going to get investigated because Bob's not in Congress.
Or could it be something they make so much money on that, okay, I'll pay the fine.
Could.
Because I'm going to
They wouldn't even care. Yeah, you have to make the fines big enough. But then again, these lawyers are going to know that they're going to have to pay the fine if they do that thing. So they just have Bob or their LLC do it. And now that's not subject to those fines.
Now it's legal.
Now it's legal. They'll find a way. That's why it won't work. The founders, they were simpler people. And what they said is, we are going to take care of our representatives and overpay them so that the gaze of bribes and fraud, they're going to make so much money. They're not going to care about the bribes and frauds because it's going to pale in comparison to what they make. So pay them $10 million a year.
Yeah.
And then they will be less likely to delve into ways of making money with their position. That did not work.
Yeah.
Right? That did not work. Because even if you did that, people are greedy and egotistical.
They still want more.
They would still want more. So I would ask the.
We're out of time.
Oh, all right.
Gotta go.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. We waited to talk. Have a good one. See you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on